Hello everybody, my name is Solus Convoy and welcome to another review. Today we are taking a look at Mechanical Skull Studio 01 Sirius, the Solo Wing, a third-party Legends class Armada Starscream from an industry newcomer who I think has only previously done upgrade kits and has never produced a full figure, at least not under this name. So let's take a look at the box first and then come right back to the figure. And the box is pretty clean, it's like that general, very Iron Factory-esque type box with the window and a picture of the toy in the front. Clean Cybertronian or mechanical aesthetic. Comes packaged in alt mode, by the way, and yeah, it just looks pretty clean, pretty solid. Just a bunch of pictures of the toy, some stuff. Yeah. So yeah, no art on the box, but that's fine. Taking a look at the figure himself. So this Starscream is based on the Armada / Micron Denetsu or Micron Legend cartoon, and it is very animation accurate in terms of proportion. The colors are based on the Thrilling 30 toy from Generations, and those colors are also used for the Legacy version. So it doesn't have the cartoon accurate white in the legs and on the feet and whatnot, so some people were disappointed, but I just like the design proportionally, so the color change didn't really bother me. But I might be down to double dip for an animation one because this is very pretty. Taking a look at the figure, it's not really painted that often. I think a lot of it is bare red plastic, but this is a really nice red plastic, right? You can hold under light and it won't be translucent. This is not Magic Square nylon like some people had theorized this might be Magic Square. It's definitely not Magic Square. The plastic feels closer to Iron Factory, but it's a bit less sharp. I want to say it feels more rounded and smooth. It's like this really nice, fun to handle toyetic plastic, more so than other third parties I've messed with. Like the plastic here feels like it's made for a toy instead of Iron Factory's plastic, which almost feels like it's made for like high-end action figure model kit plastic, which might be a bit too sharp or prickly for children, or New Age's really fancy masterpiece style ABS or Magic Square's nylon. This one feels the most like toy plastic, and I think it's just so refreshing. He's fun and solid, and he feels like a good toy, but he is kind of fiddly because of his size. Obviously this isn't for little kids, right? But these are choking hazards. But yeah, I mean, and the proportions are great. The dynamism really lends itself to the design. It's a very super robot-esque design, so it just works really well here. It's just so pretty from a glance. I'm a big fan of this guy. We'll definitely pick up repaint just off how pretty he is alone. Looks great, man, and just clean from all angles. This kibble is so accurate, but you can even put this down and make it like the IDW interpretation of the design. So, I mean, just, yeah, amazing. I guess that can kickstart the articulation segment. This is a very articulated figure, so let's get into the articulation segment. I'm keeping the cannons in the IDW configuration so that you can get a better look at his head. So he can go up that far, down that far, kind of pointless because of the chest shape. Full 360 unhindered and side to side. And yes, you can bring the cannons back in and the head still works. It's just harder to access. And these cannons can articulate like they do in the show. So yeah, they can do that in both configurations, by the way. He has butterfly shoulders, which are fantastic on a sword wielder. He has a primary shoulder that can go 90 degrees up, and then he has a second shoulder that can go for 180 degrees up, which is great. And of course you get the 360. And if you ever feel hindered by the wings, guess what? They can move out of the way. They're on ball joints. Everything is accounted for here. This part of the arm is crazy because you have a classical bicep swivel right here. So that works fine. You have your first elbow joint, which gets you 90. And then in here for transformation, you have another swivel And then you have your second elbow, which can get you 180, right? And then you have your ball jointed wrist, which gets you a nice amount of vertical up and down tilt as well, which is great for sword wielders. These hands he has on right now, by the way, he can transform with these on, so don't even worry about that. The waist is where it gets tricky. This is going to be hard to show, and I put his arm out of the way. So right now, he's in the default, or not really, the crunch is engaged slightly. So this is like the default stance, and then he can ab crunch about that far. So the cockpit is loose on a friction hinge, and it just goes with the abdomen, and you can push it back into place using the cockpit. Pretty fun engineering, not a whole ton of range, but understandable considering the design. And he has a waist swivel, so you're not going to get that much range out of it, even with pushing the cockpit forward. So you'll get about that much max. But I feel that's enough. I really do think that's enough for a Seeker. So many Seekers struggle in that aspect, or they just compromise a sculpt for a waist swivel they don't really need. So he gets about 45 degrees to each side. Pretty good. Ball jointed hips, unhindered. This part will hinder you before the actual hips do. With the knee folded, they can... Yeah, so unhindered. Like, I mean, everywhere. Thigh swivel, unhindered, you know. Bit tight though, not tight, but tighter than the hip ball joint. So you know, double jointed knee, right? Sorry, that's in the way. Double jointed knee gets you basically 180, 175, round up 180. Ankles are on two joints because you know we can't spare no expense for articulation on this guy. You have the hinge here, which gets you all the way back for transformation, of course, and then you have the ability to go all the way forward. I love this. I love this. We need more ankle forward, please. So it's a bit, you know, you can see it from here, but it's so worth it. And then ankle tilt. Since it's on a ball joint, you can get even more like expressiveness out of this. You can swivel it side to side, etc., etc. And you get about that much ankle tilt, which I think that's enough, right? Yeah, that's enough. So very well articulated, and going right into the ball jointed wrists, into the accessories section. These wrists are the default wrists, right? I'm gonna pop it off because I switched the hands. These hands are his all-around hands. What I mean all around is that they can do everything he can do as a figure. You can use these hands to transform him. They can hold his weapons, etc., etc., etc. You don't need any other hands, but if you do, you have a total of 3 other pairs. So you have closed fist, and I'm just going to show one fist at a time. And these are just so you can have a more natural look when he's posed instead of the, you know, the 3mm hole attached to a ball joint. They look great. They're too big, unfortunately, to transform him with, which goes for all of his alternate hands. You have a sword holding hand, which looks great and it gets you even more tiltage for those awesome sword poses. So it can hold several accessories, including this giant wing sword, meant to replicate the fact that his wing turns into his sword in the original cartoon. And, you know, combine the downwards motion of this hand with the already tilt, and you can get some nice, you know, just like walking with your sword type beat poses. That's great. The other hand can also hold the swords. And speaking of swords, I'm just going to bring in back the original hand. He has a second sword not because he dual wields, no. Well, I mean, he can dual wield, but he has a second sword because he has a transforming wing sword, like the original Armada toy. This figure truly has something for everyone. Whether you're a fan of the show, the original toy, just cool toys in general, I mean, you will find something in this figure. And that looks pretty good. Of course, it's not as clean as the static piece, but this allows him to be a complete figure without any spare accessories. Because see, this wing, sorry, it's a bit of a pain to get off here. This piece, this wing right here, comes off to replicate his classical gimmick of taking off his wing sword, but the transforming wing sword transforms. So if you tilt the handle back, slide it in right there, pegs in, and then transforms. Everything that's on this figure right now, right, is all you need for him. You don't need the static wing piece, you don't need the alternate hands, you don't need anything except for the default hands, which comes attached and he transforms with them, and the transforming wing sword. If you want to just have the bare minimum to take with you somewhere to play with him or whatever, just this. Awesome. His other accessory that you may or may not need, depending on how much you care about the lore, is a non-transforming Minicon Swindle. He is minuscule, and he is completely functional in the sense that he may not activate spring-loaded gimmicks, but he can plug in on Starscream's backpack thing and, you know, activate his cannons. And he stores in alt mode as well. Seriously, if you want to keep Swindle with you, you can just keep him there. I mean, it's just, wow. You know, perfect accessories, perfect articulation. I am very impressed with his bot mode. Just so far, very impressive figure. I mean, does everything I'd want. I want this level of hands, alternate hands from every single company. And I even forgot an alternate hand. He comes with optional 5mm hands, so he can hold the original, I guess, Star Saber, or the Star Saber that comes with Legacy Armada Starscream. No expenses spared. They did everything. And for a size comparison, here he is with Generations G2 Legends class Megatron, my trademark guy, himself, New Age Shattered Glass Sludge, and Hasbro's to-do series leader class Optimus Primal. So yeah, you know, he's about smaller than a deluxe, bigger than a Hasbro Legends, maybe old school scout sized. All right, so here we have a look at the alternate mode. It looks pretty great. I think it is 1-to-1 with what Starscream looked like in the original cartoon, but I may be wrong. The colors show up well in this mode. The distribution looks nice. Overall, pretty great, pretty solid. The cannons work as well in this mode, unhindered, and you can plug in Swindle on that tab so that you can have your cannons facing forward in a lore accurate fashion thanks to power links, or you can just transport Swindle. We also have retractable landing gear that does not spin because it is way too small to ever be spinning. So just like that, and then pull on that notch to do that. He also has back landing gear, pull on the notch, and they open. So yeah, overall it looks great. My one complaint is this section is just held on by friction, and it locks into place because it's the maximum range of the joint, but it just feels kind of wobbly, I guess. You know, it is not ideal. I wish this locked in securely. But for some size comparisons, here he is with Hasbro's G2 Legends class Tank Megatron. My previous review, Iron Factory pipes, and then Legacy crankcase. So, you know, he's about the length of a deluxe, but with considerably less mass. So, final thoughts. This figure is truly something. I mean, I never heard of Mechanical Skull Studio before this, but now I want to be on top of everything they tease, release, or put out, because I paid $37 for this release, honestly, and I've probably gotten more out of it than figures that cost me $50, $60. It's just really fun. There's a lot of display options, a lot of posing options. I mean, they have to include a static wing. No, I mean, sure, they include the transformable wing sword, or they include the regular wing sword, or they just don't give them a transforming wing. I mean, everything they could have done to make this figure a better experience, they did. You know, the only flaw I have with it is, I guess the head is a little too small, but even then, like, the eyes don't show well on camera, but in person the eyes are so small but painted so well. They somehow managed to pop because they use this really nice yellow paint which contrasts with the matte gray plastic of the head and the glossy gray paint of the face, so it just looks really good. But yeah, he's a bit pinheaded. The cockpit in jet mode is a bit loose, but seriously, dude, like, there's not much else they could have done to make this figure better than it is. I guess the animation accurate paint job, but again, the mold is so good I don't really care. But I understand why people are upset about that. But they can get the Power Links colors whenever they come out. So I mean, this is $37, dude. This is the same price as Voyager class Legacy Starscream, and it's more articulated, better proportions, better jet mode, comes with Swindle, comes with infinitely more accessories, actually proportionate sword. I think if you use his 5mm hand and give him the Legacy Starsaber is more proportionate to this guy than it is to the Legacy release. He's just the closest thing I've seen to perfect from a 3P Legends company. I think the only things holding this guy back again are the paint and the loose jet mode and the loose cockpit in jet mode. The rest of the jet mode is rock solid, and I honestly think those can be ironed out. I am so excited to see what they do next. This is the strongest recommend for me out of anything I've put on my channel, based on the factor of price, playability, ease of transformation, quality materials, quality accessories. This is a must pick up. I'm serious. Like, if you've never even bought a Legends class figure before, buy this one. This is like mod fans ruler levels of budget perfection, because it's built and has the play value and the just overall polish of like a $50 to $55 release. So I would pick this up immediately, or get in line for the reissue, or get in line for one of the repaints, because it is just that good. Truly one of the best figures of 2023, and it's a shame I put out this review so late. Thank you everyone who tuned in. My name is Soulless Convoy. Please do all the things that everyone else says do at the end of YouTube videos. You know, if you guys could give me a like, comment, subscribe even, I greatly appreciate it. Try to reply to all my comments. So, you know, I love doing this, and I love sharing these figures with you guys. Thank you for everyone who keeps tuning in and supporting my channel. I appreciate all of you. Have a great one. Peace out.